Minister of Industry, Trade, and Agribusiness. She drags you wherever she has to go. So now I keep a helmet in my car because I don't know when she'll call me. And so I always have my construction and factory helmet always ready. In January, we visited the Special Economic Zone, and we visited a textile plant that is employing more than 1,000 workers, 95% of whom are women. And then in the same January, we were in Bechim to commission cut sod for a new poultry processing plant, so that all the nkukon kitikiti that are being produced will be processed there for the table. But that was not all. 2 weeks ago, we were at B5 Plus in Mr. Takwani's facility, and we commissioned 3 separate factories at B5 Plus. And then again, last week, we were in Shama at the Industrial Enclave to commission the expanded ceramic tile factory, and then to cut sod for the expansion of the sanitary ware factory, and then to cut sod for the beginning of work on Ghana's first glass factory. When I say first glass factory, it means after Kwame Nkrumah's Aboso factory, which the last government came and sold as scrap, we now have a new glass factory about to come up so that we can cut down our importation of glass. And then this morning alone, we've gone to commission a calcium clay cement plant, which is using local clay and incorporating it into our cement production instead of using clinker. And so we commissioned that this morning, and then this afternoon here we are to commission a pasta processing plant. With regards to the pasta processing plant, of course, when I went to Singapore, I met the management of Olam, and they made us a promise that before the middle of this year, we will commission this plant. And I'm happy to know that even before the target date they gave us, we're here to commission the pasta processing plant. I want to thank Mr. Sonny Vegazi and his team for the wonderful work you are doing. And so let me acknowledge Nitetel to the second paramount chief of Kong traditional area and your traditional council members. Let me acknowledge Elizabeth Ofoso-Ijari, our hardworking minister for trade and industry and agribusiness. Let me acknowledge our ministers of state who are here and our members of parliament and all senior government officials, heads of regulatory and financial institutions. And indeed, we also have the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center here, the Chief Marketing Officer of Ghana's industry, and several other senior government officials. It's a pleasure for me to join you this afternoon to commission this pasta manufacturing facility established by Olam Agri Limited. Today's event addresses a matter that concerns every Ghanaian household: how we produce our food, generate sustainable jobs, and develop an economy that increasingly depends on local production rather than imports. For many years, Ghana has had the raw materials, the market, and the human capacity to produce much of what we consume. And yet, too often, value is added to these raw materials elsewhere, while we import the finished product at a significantly higher cost. Facilities like this one we're commissioning today mark a conscious shift, moving from reliance to production and from missed opportunities to targeted industrial growth. When we discuss food production, we refer to issues that directly impact our citizens' daily lives. The prices families pay at the markets and the shops, the pressure on household incomes, and the strain on our foreign exchange reserves. For decades, Ghana has depended heavily on imported processed food products, even when local production was capable of meeting demand. The results of this are clear: increasing import costs, pressure on our local currency, the cedi, and limited chances for domestic manufacturing to expand and create the jobs that our young people need. Many Ghanaians experience this daily on the shop shelves, in the prices we pay, and in the limited availability of locally processed alternatives. When production occurs elsewhere, the economic cost is ultimately borne by us here at home. Investments by companies committed to processing food locally are crucial for boosting national production capacity and creating jobs for our young people. Olam Agri has been operating in Ghana for 32 years. During this time, the company has broadened its activities from simple commodity trading to agro-processing and food manufacturing. Today, Olam's operations in Ghana include cocoa, cashew, grains, wheat milling, biscuits manufacturing, tomato processing, and other food products that are familiar to many Ghanaian households. These are investments that people encounter in their everyday lives. The company currently employs over 4,500 Ghanaians in its operations, both directly and indirectly, and it's a clear reflection of its long-term commitment to and partnership with the Ghanaian economy. It introduces modern processing capacity into Ghana's food industry. It creates jobs along the supply chain, from factory work to logistics and distribution, and decreases our dependence on imported pasta products. Most importantly, it guarantees that greater value stays within the Ghanaian economy. Put simply, this factory will enable more of what we consume to be produced locally. And as Mr. Vegaji said, I just broke some news to him. Earlier this week, I was visited by our scientists from the Crops Research Institute under the CSIR, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. And they have made a breakthrough with wheat production. They have identified a variety that can grow very comfortably in Ghana. Wheat is normally thought to be a temperate crop. They've made a breakthrough. They've identified a variety. They've developed a variety that can be grown here locally. And in the test that they did with the wheat, the first test, they were able to harvest between 5 and 6 tons per hectare of wheat. And so I mentioned to our co-founder that we should let Olam get in touch with them as soon as possible so that we can see how to support them to integrate wheat production into this value chain of the pasta processing plant. Ladies and gentlemen, facilities of this nature generate benefits that go beyond the factory itself. They strengthen connections across the economy, linking farmers, transporters, technicians, and small businesses. They generate consistent demand for raw material and services. They help stabilize supply and prices and support the development of technical skills within our manufacturing sector. These are the tangible benefits resulting from ongoing agro-industrial investments. Under the Agriculture for Economic Transformation agenda, the government is working to modernize agriculture, expand agro-processing capacity, and ensure that economic growth results in jobs, incomes, particularly for our young men and women. The government's duty is to offer a stable policy environment, support essential infrastructure, and collaborate with investors who show seriousness and a long-term commitment to our country. Olam Agri's ongoing investment in Ghana aligns exactly with this national policy. But policies only matter when they lead to actual factories, real jobs, and tangible production on the ground. This factory is going to operate a shift system, and it qualifies under our 24-hour economy initiative. And I'm happy to inform the co-founder that we have passed the 24-hour economy authority bill, and the 24-hour economy initiative is becoming operational. I believe that Olam will be among the first industries to register. And among the incentives you are going to get include duty-free equipment imports. If you want to expand your factory, or you want to bring in new factory equipment to establish a new factory, you'll be allowed to bring it in duty-free. I heard at a point that Ghana is the second biggest eater of pasta in Africa. It's true because of our wache. Wache always goes with pasta, or as it's called in local parlance, talia. So I can understand that Ghana is the second largest eater. But I can't understand the country that was named as the biggest eater of pasta, Togo. And so I was whispering to the minister. I said, most of that pasta that is recorded as being eaten in Togo is actually being eaten in Ghana, because it comes across the Aflao border into Ghana. And so we need to look at those figures. Now that we have our own pasta factory here, we must make sure that cheap, imported, smuggled pasta is not brought in through our eastern border. Recently, we've banned the import of vegetable cooking oil after the incident with 18 trucks that were found smuggling vegetable cooking oil. We've added rice to the list. We've added tomato puree. How do they call it in Ghana? Tin tomatoes. We've added it to the list. We've added mackerel to the list. I'm going to tell the Minister of Finance to add pasta to the list. So looking ahead, this facility will not solve every challenge within our food sector. However, it represents an important and practical step forward. It demonstrates what can be achieved when private investment aligns with national development priorities. Looking ahead, projects like this should build confidence among our local entrepreneurs, among farmers, and among investors considering Ghana as a place to produce and expand. Experience shows that countries make sustained progress when production becomes a regular part of economic life rather than the exception. And that is the direction we must continue to pursue. As I conclude, I wish to commend the management and staff of Olam Agri Ghana for this significant investment, especially the co-founder and group chairman. I also recognize the Ghanaian workers of Olam Agri, whose dedication will guarantee the ongoing success of this facility. I wish to also thank the traditional authorities for their continued support to the industries that have located here in the Kpong area. To all the businesses and communities connected to this factory, its long-term success will depend on your partnership and your participation. With the commissioning of this facility, Ghana takes another important step towards boosting local production, generating jobs for our citizens, and reinforcing the foundations of our national economy. It is therefore my honor and privilege to, at this juncture, officially declare the Olam Agri Ghana Pasta Manufacturing facility officially commissioned. I thank you, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana.